So, man, oh fucking man. I'm just gonna cut to the fucking point of this so I don't have to fuck around for a while. I've been really thinking about my next action. Where I'm at now and what I need to learn. What are things that are before me? And there's quite a bit. So, somehow, for some reason, I've been really diving in. So I'm reading the Odyssey right now. I'm pretty close to finishing it. I try to not read too much in a day so I can absorb more. But anyway. I've been diving into mythology. And I decided to, I was kind of like running around in it. Like, oh man, there's so many different cultures. Holy shit, and all this mythology is everywhere. And I've been acquiring a shit ton of books. I've been getting, I don't even know how many I've gotten in the past fucking few weeks, but a lot. Knowing that I'm eventually going to get to them. So I'm just like, I'll get them, I'll set them aside. I'll get them, I'll set them aside. But simultaneously, I found this series on Amazon. It's about the Greek gods. And it's like, I think 3 seasons long. And I've been watching one a day, generally. And the stories, the more I watch them, the more I'm like, there's something fucking here. A lot of the times I've noticed people are like, their misconceptions are they truly believe this, that these gods exist, and they have to be treated like they're in the mythologies, or there's no fucking way that they exist. That's bullshit. It's stories. And I think those are incorrect camps to be placed in. And as the more I'm watching, the more I'm like, these are in our mind. This is all inside of us. All of the gods, the Olympians, all the other cultures. I'm not really sure right now. I haven't even gotten to them. Let's just stick to the Greek right now. It's all inside of us. Those gods are us. That is our minds. Yet they're not, If you look at Carl Jung's work, you talk about these archetypes, these beings inside of you. I don't know if you want to use the word beings. I don't remember his word. It might have been archetypes or personalities. I can't quite recall. But they're all inside of you. They are you, but they're kind of not. They are, but they aren't, because it takes a lot of work to manifest in some sense. So it's a whole lot going on. And I've been looking more and more into it. And I'm like, I can't lay it on you right now. I can't necessarily say, this is what it is, here's what I think it is. I don't know why, but I do know that there's something here. And I just can't find the words right now. But I sense it's here. And that's kind of where I'm at. I'm like, they're inside of my mind, the Olympians. And so are all those stories, because they have such depth to them. I just finished the story of Eros and Psyche. And her whole story, the whole myth around her, as I was listening to it, I was like, there is something here. The Psyche's looking for this deep, profound love, but it is so beautiful that no one is willing to approach her. They're all afraid of her, even though she's mortal. Then Aphrodite, the god up there, the goddess of desire and love and all that, is jealous of her, so tries to trick her. Psyche is told, I think it was by Aphrodite pretending to be the fucking sage that they had over there, the Delphi, to marry this ugly man. And somehow she was transported to a castle, and her husband was there, but she wasn't allowed to look at him. She wasn't allowed to see who he was, but they embraced each other in bed at night. But during the day, she was alone in this great castle, or it was some sort of palace or some beautiful, beautiful place. And I'm like, holy fuck, so that's the mind. The Psyche's alone in it all the time, but only embraces it at night. And there's all this whole story, and you can read the rest of it yourself, but I'm just listening to it going man, there is something fucking in here. I feel the weight of it. I feel the weight of all this stuff, this mythologies, and I'm like, this is making more sense to me than anything I've ever heard in modern religion. This is clicking with me more. I'm like, why the fuck have we forgotten this? We've created the gods. We've created the aspects of our own mind a long time ago. It might not have always been this way. We might constantly be creating the sense of our own inner workings of our mind. And this is all theoretical. I don't even know. This is coming to me as I speak, okay? So Don't take what I'm saying as like, well, that's it, you know, or question me on it, because I don't fucking know. I'm coming up with this as I'm telling you, okay? But my thinking is that all these gods are aspects of our mind, right? Seemingly. And they all are parts of ourselves. And the stories which play out are things that we constantly do or feel, or things that we keep getting ourselves into, and warnings, and also things of desire, or whatever happens to be. It's all inside of here. We have our own Zeus, we have our own Psyche, we have our own Hera, you know. And these are personality types that ride within us, but we keep creating more. It wasn't always that way, but now it is. I don't know about actively, but maybe a long time ago. And the idea of Psyche being allowed into the pantheon told me that maybe that's kind of how this theory may work. Like it wasn't there, but now it is. And your understanding of these said things are creating the world around you. This wasn't always the way it appeared to be, but now you're allowing it to be that way because you're allowing in these different, we could say deities, or we could say forces or emotions or whatever happens to be, but that's what we're constantly doing. And it makes sense because you got to think of like the words we use now, like psyche and mentor and other old Greek words that are still in use and still evoke something, right? Mentor was a fucking guy, but when I say to you mentor, you're like, oh, a mentor. Do you know what I'm saying? Odyssey. I know that's a play on the word Odysseus, but when I say Odyssey, you're like, oh, I know what that is. That's a journey, right? Like it's a fucking, you took a name and it became a whole conscious idea. And so why wouldn't the gods work that way? And it's just like shit, like just hit me like this. I'm like, fuck. I'm kind of scrambling right now. Clearly, as you can see, because this is really fresh. This is today. It's only fucking like 8 in the morning. But then one of the books I got was The White Goddess by Robert Graves. He was a poet. I think he was, I don't know when he was born, but he was in World War I, so he was around that age. And as I'm looking at this work, right there at the end, it does say, man, it's a heavy weight of learning. And it's gonna take a lot to kind of digest it and see how you feel about it, the things he's presenting in here. And not only is the book heavy, but I can feel it. I'm like, oh, this is a lot. This is a lot. And the reason I made this video is because I kind of wanted to say, I really feel where I'm at right now. Studying the gods, at least the Greek gods as of right now. We will branch out. But looking at the stories that happened there, deep down knowing what the Middle Ages turned into, you know, and what Christianity did and all that, and then where we kind of came out of that in Enlightenment, and then how we went into the age of like not necessarily man worship, but the age of man discovering himself in some sense, and science kind of being born in a way, and going forward to the Renaissance and all this stuff. And it just started hitting me, or the Renaissance before that, sorry. It started hitting me like, okay, I see these connections, and I see that we've made the world that we're in. Not just physically, not with constructs, not with even like egregore thoughts of like what a government is, and what are land borders, and what kind of citizen are you, and what are the laws, like bigger than that. The psyche in our own minds was created. It didn't have to be this way, but we've made it into this way. And I'm kind of slowly seeking to go back and wondering to myself how this came to be and what it necessarily means. And as far as I can tell, I'm realizing, as what I just said, we have made with gods and goddesses the own concepts of our mind, and through the way that those are, they've become archetypes placed inside, and those archetypes can hold, I guess you could say, their own egregore of ideas, their own thought form of ideas that can shape and manifest and this and that. And I seek to unravel those in some way, shape, or form. I'm not the brightest person I'm not, I really feel like I'm a fucking fool. I'm gonna be honest with you. Like, I don't feel at all intelligent, especially when I'm talking, because it's like, it's hard to get out shit, especially when it's not formed in my head. I'm just puking, basically, my ideas. I feel so foolish in all of this. Like, how little am I? Not like in, like, not in spiritual stature, but just in the grand scope of all of this. How little am I to just constantly try to come to the source of all this, and we're talking thousands of years of human evolution, mental. And here I sit, you know, like trying to figure this out. I don't know why I feel compelled to do this. I have no idea. But these stories, reading the Odyssey and listening to the stories of the gods, so it kind of starts at the beginning, you know, with earth and the sky, and now I'm at a point where we're learning about, you know, Aphrodite and now Psyche, and we're trying to learn about Apollo and Hermes, and everyone gets like 30 minutes of their story. And it's like 3 seasons of this shit. It goes all the way from the beginning to Trojan Wars and stuff, and then the Odyssey. But as I'm taking it in, I feel something. You know what I mean? Something that people talk about when they read the Bible, right? Like, there's certain things that just, I feel it, and this is for me. Even though, seemingly, my heritage, as the DNA tells me, from ancestry, I have no Mediterranean blood in me at all. I could, of a long time ago, because, you know, after a while it kind of, not necessarily goes away, but it's harder to detect. I don't know, but I just have always been enamored with Greek mythology. Just, it's always been a fucking thing. It means so much to me. Every time I read it, I feel something deep down that I cannot explain. Something that just feels so fucking right when I'm reading it. Like, I want to be there. I feel like I already am there. You know, there's just a weird kind of thing. So finally I allowed myself to embrace it. For a long time I kind of kept putting it off to the side for, I don't know why. I wouldn't allow myself to experience Greek mythology. I just kept saying like, no, no, no. And finally I'm like allowing it to happen, and I just, as I have been, it's been a goddamn adventure, but it's also invoking something in me. Something I can't quite explain. But I think it's the origin of, I mean, I know it's obvious, but it's the origin of how we got here in our minds. Our whole idea of society and mankind and what a person is, it's all born there. And I'm not seeking to like undo it all, like a lot of modern people might try to. Probably, I don't know. But I'm seeking to understand it, pure and simple. Not really much more than I can say about it than that. I'm just wanting to understand this shit. And what kind of drew me to do this video, it's not even about Greek mythology, as far as I understand it, but the white goddess here. The earliest European deity was the white goddess of birth, love, and death, visibly appearing as the new, full, and old moon, and worshipped under countless titles. She was beautiful, generous, fickle, wise, and implacable. The white goddess is far more than a long discredited pagan deity. She is still alive, and her worship takes many strange forms, both inside and outside the conventions of Western morality. In particular, she continues as the ninefold muse, patroness of the white magic of poetry. Mr. Graves' proposition is that true poetry, or pure poetry, which has never been satisfactorily defined except in the emotional effect that it produces in its readers, has only a single language and a single infinitely variable theme. He shows that this theme is inseparably connected with the ancient cult ritual of the white goddess and her son. The language is called myth and is based on a few simple magical formulas, kept close secret for thousands of years by her initiates, without a knowledge of which the legends of Palestine, Greece, Rome, and northwestern Europe are so much beautiful, disgusting or boring nonsense. Poetry is true or pure to the degree that the poet makes intuitive use of the formulas. Here, then, is a historical grammar of poetic myth, with the more important magical elements logically deduced from scattered relics of several allied mystery cults. It not only explains the obscure power that English Romantic poetry exercises on the reasonable people of today, but provides practical solutions to many of the apparent insoluble riddles of antiquity, even to the question that Sir Thomas Browne instanced in his Urn Burial, what song the sirens sang, or what name Achilles assumed when he hid himself among the women, and to the riddle that Job feared to answer, where shall wisdom be found, and to the problem that Alexander the Great refused to face, how to unite the Gordian knot, and to John Donne's who cleft the devil's foot. It is a stiff book because of the weight of learning that the argument has to support, but we believe that it marks a wholly new era in the study of poetic and religious meaning. See how fucking weighty that felt? It's become quite clear to me, the poet. Over the years, man, I just kind of knew about poetry and all that, and I don't understand it still. But I always had this feeling that it was a very serious thing and it must be taken that way. It can't just be read passively for fun. It can't just be read like, I don't really give a fuck. I just want to read it. It's a serious endeavor, at least seemingly to myself, and I have no way to understand how to make it work in my head yet. It's close, but I can't make it work right now. I don't know what it is. But I realize that poets... Damn it, I should have done that. That poets hold some secret, we could say arcane knowledge that they're allowing themselves to go into the other, and they're pulling it back with them. And in that pulling it back, they're placing it in this kind of, it's not coded, but it's designed a certain way to be read a certain way. And I think that's where everything kind of is unlocked, because a lot of this Greek mythology is poetic. Maybe not necessarily perfect rhymes of every other line, but the way it was constructed, it was always seen as poetry. So now here I sit knowing this stuff about poetry, about the white goddess here, Greek mythology, everything that it fucking encompasses. My journey of my own psyche, understanding my own mind, understanding who I am, and my journey of finding myself and simultaneously copying it down, going into this egoless experience of having waking dreams in which I'm typing it out and creating a mythology of my own thoughts. It's like all those things are laying before me, and now I'm just kind of sitting here saying, how do I, like, what's, you know what I mean? Like, imagine like reading 50 books, all incredibly, dense and with amazing topics, and you're all done, and someone's like, okay, how is that all connected? That's how I feel right now. I'm just like, holy shit, like it's something, but I don't know yet. I'm lost in this. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's kind of where I'm at on all this. It's just, I know I'm on this road. I know that I placed myself here. I know all the things that I've been doing and reading and feeling and seeing and experiencing and hating and loving and all of the things in the world has led me to this point. And now there's like this deity going like, okay, why? You know what I mean? I'm like, damn, I don't know. That's kind of where I'm at this point. It's why the videos have slowed down, as I've said. It's just like, man, I just fucking something here. And I just got to figure this all out. And I don't necessarily have all the right tools to identify it. I see there's something going on, but I don't have the right, my glasses aren't on right now. So I'm just kind of a little bit, it's still foggy, And it's a lot, it really is. But I can sense, again, like I was saying in the beginning, There is something deeply placed inside of these myths. Something that is akin to how our minds got to where they are right now. And something inside of that I need to unravel, because it's going to help me with my mythology that I'm creating. At least I think. I don't know. It might not be. It might turn me the fuck off. Who knows? Yeah, I don't know. It's hard to say. Sometimes I wonder how I come across. You know what I mean? When people don't know me and they just hear me talking. I wonder how I come across. I feel like an idiot when I'm speaking like this. I really do. You would be surprised, because sometimes the comments are always people that they just know, like, oh God, it's obvious that it's this dumb fuck. You know, it always comes across that way. Maybe they don't mean to, but that's how I always read it. That everyone already knows this, and I'm sitting here like in kindergarten going like, guys, like there's an alphabet, you know, and then everyone's like, yeah, dumb fuck, we all know about it. And it just makes me feel lesser. So every time I'm always leery to these videos, because I'm like, I feel like I'm just saying shit that everyone already knows. In certain circles. Maybe not your average guy that lives, you know, a road down from me. He's a simpleton that, you know, I don't know. But like, maybe it's because I'm not a very logical based person. I'm not an intellectual. You know, I don't memorize facts. I don't memorize statistics and analyze people's whatever theories, you know, in a very precise way. I'm so non-scientific. I'm just pure emotion, art, and feel. So for me, it's maybe that's why. Some people will play a song and they learn the chords, or they learn basic structure. They learn scales and stuff, so that it keeps them grounded. I'm the guy that says, I don't even know what note this is, so let's just go. And just kind of plays by feel. And makes more mistakes, and it's more fumbly, but when I find something, it's always not what is standard. You know what I'm saying? It always turns into like, wow, that's a weird way to do that. It's because I don't, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's how my mind always has worked, especially in music, but in life too. It's hard for me to look at something scientifically and go, I see. Let's look at the theories that have been over the centuries, and we can deduce from all that, and blah, 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 and we can talk about the psyche of mankind through philosophical understanding. I don't work that way, man. It's all about what I feel, and then we just move, you know? It's arguably it's a very childlike way to be, but I don't know how to not, you know? I can't do any other way, man. It's I'd have to unlearn my entire being, and maybe I'm supposed to. Maybe eventually I need to unlearn how to not just be pure feel, and learn how to, you know, use the other side of my brain, that's the logical side. Maybe that's it. I don't know. But that is what I'm filled with more. I don't know. The more I get on, you know, the more I move forward and shit, the more I feel like I don't fucking know. Like sometimes inspiration will hit you and certain divine thoughts will happen and form in front of you, and it's like, oh my God, that's it. But I always finish it with, well then, but then also at the same time, I'm not really sure. Because I've been fooled before, or I've gone down roads and said that that's it, and I've been wrong. So anymore, it's like, I don't know. Maybe this entire video is just bullshit. I don't fucking know. I don't want it to be. I don't seek to be a little trickster, you know, and like fuck with people on such a level, but I don't know, man. I had a discussion with a friend last night about who I am. Like the question of who we are, and what is our purpose here, and what is spirit, and what is the body, and I had some ideas, but I always followed up with, but then again, I don't really know. And that's all I can say with a surety. anymore. The longer I've been living, the more I can say I'm quite confident I don't know. Even though I've learned many a thing over the years, and I have expanded my knowledge beyond what I ever thought I could possibly have ever done, there's still nothing that I'm sure of besides I don't know. That I can say with ease. But for some reason, that doesn't stop me from continuously trying. As I've been explaining, what I'm going to try to do in this video is understand Greek mythology. Even though I will never know, and I know that, for some reason I'm still going to chase this fucking thing into the darkened woods and think, maybe I'll get it this time. Is that human folly? Is that a trick? Am I onto something? I don't know. But that's kind of the sensation that I've been feeling. That we're moving somewhere in the mind. And the journey is long and arduous. And it's very tiring. I think I read in here for like 4 hours yesterday. And I was just like, wipe the fuck out. I had to take a nap. You know what I mean? And that's just reading. I didn't do anything else. I mean, I moved a little bit of stuff around my bookshelf here that I got. Big old bookshelf. I got all my books kind of out and placed them in here. I'll just show you real quick. I feel good about it. But I got them all out. I put them in hopefully the right order. And then I have these guys still to go through. And then that's the little bookshelf over there. I was only doing that, and then I started reading. I wasn't doing a whole lot. I did nothing. But still, all this kind of, this work of mythology, I am moving quietly and blindly into something that I know is very important, but I do not have the tools to detect it. I have been studying Joseph Campbell, because that is a man that devoted his life to unraveling mythology. And I still haven't quite found my tools of how I can unravel all this. As I said earlier, when I hear the story of Psyche, I say to myself, there is something there. That massive palace, that beautifully constructed palace, seemingly is a mind. But maybe it's not. But I don't know. I'm thinking it's a mind. And the Psyche's alone inside of it. Only at night is she embraced by her husband, but she cannot look at his face. I just tell myself, there is something there that is universal. There is something there that I face all the time. And if I find that story inside of my head, it will unlock something and it will guide me. Whether it opens the door to, again, these ancient Greek archetypes that were created long ago that are still within us, or it allows me to use them as constructs to find my own inner gods so then I can fucking come up with the stories of my own mind. I don't fucking know. You know what I mean? It's there. You see what I'm saying? Like, I'm like close. It's in my hands, but I'm just sitting here like, I don't know French, but it's right here. I know I need it. You know, that's how it feels. Like, fuck, I'm going to have to learn French to read this fucking story. Something like that, you know, or make up any other language you want. It's in Chinese or something. Like, it just feels like that. I have it. I can't detect it right now. I can't read it. And I don't know anyone that can be like, that can teach me how to read this in this instance. Like, yeah, let me just show you how to open up mythology that you would understand. Like, they can only tell me how they understand, and that doesn't work for me because my mind is very specific. So I'm just kind of floundering a little bit. To which, funny enough, I go to my first therapy appointment today. I don't know what to expect, and I don't know what she's gonna fucking expect, because it's a younger looking woman too. Not to say that she's incapable, but I just mean, I don't know what the hell she's gonna expect, and I'm like, can I just like talk for a little bit and just throw some of this at you? Or, you know, being in a small town, am I gonna be kind of labeled neurotic and, you know, given modern, like, you need ADD medicine is what you need and blah, blah, blah. Like, I hope it doesn't turn into that. where this woman just sees what she's supposed to, and like, I need to fix this. I hope she is a true therapist, psychologist that will try to help me unlock things instead of stifle me with modern, like, you just have ADD and obsessive compulsive disorder and psychological trauma based on something that happened with your mother. We're going to prescribe you this. Like, I hope it's not that, man. That would be very upsetting. So I'm a little nervous about that. But anyway, maybe this person can help me in some way. At least just lead me down the right fucking road. Like, maybe here's where I should go. I hope so. I hope so. Because, man, have I been searching for a mentor. A shaman. A whatever. I don't know. You name it. Druid. Spirit guide. Something. I've been searching, what is it, low and high? High and low? Still no luck, but I just kind of, I don't know if I've conveyed properly the kind of situation I find myself in. Just trying to figure this shit out. And trying to not only work this mind, but understand, oh yeah, you live in a real world though, buddy. Like, you have a job and you have, there's a social order there, you have a duty, you have things you gotta pay. You can't just, not focus on that stuff. You have to do small things like get gas and pay your electric bill. You have to get groceries to eat. You have to interact with people and friends and stuff. Like, there's all that whole fucking side where I'm like, I just want to be a goddamn hermit and walk away from all that shit, but can't. Oh, I could, but these videos wouldn't be happening. I don't know, man. I'm just kind of at a crossroads. Another one. I swear to God, man, like, every time you move, it's always like, oh, there's 2 ways to go. If you think, but if you know there's 15, you're like, oh, damn. So that's kind of, it's always crossroads. And I was talking to someone last night, and I think I might have mentioned these videos where I feel like I'm kind of transcending to another tier. I'm moving up to another level of understanding. And I've been kind of labeling it quietly in my head, circles of understanding is what these are to me. Like, there's just different circles, dimensions, or realms, or whatever you want to call it, that you can transcend or descend, honestly. And I feel like I'm going to a new one, and I'm kind of between them right now, like trying to, like, how do I land? I've never practiced landing right now, and I'm flying, I'm getting there, I see it ahead, but I'm like, how the fuck do I land? Where's the button to make the wheels go down, and how do I know what to do when I'm landing it? That's kind of where I feel metaphorically, where it's like, we're coming up to it, but we don't really know how to land. We're gonna hope to fucking God that we don't fuck this up. Because there's passengers on board, That's where we are. And though mythology was quietly in our lives, we were always a little bit interested as a kid. I remember hearing the story of Minos and the Minotaur and all that as a kid, and just being fascinated by it, wanting to vividly imagine this labyrinth. And I was like, I loved it. But much like modern schooling, we didn't really devote much time to it. They were like, anyway, we're gonna go over here and read The Great Gatsby, fucking stupid shit. And so, or the other stories, like that was Theseus and the Minotaur and all that, the Odyssey, and there's another one that I still don't remember. One day it'll unlock, but I just thought, like, oh, there's something deep down, but I didn't take it seriously. I was just like, I resonate with this, but I don't give a fuck. I don't, I'm not gonna think about it. I got important things to do. It's only of late that I've been allowing myself to explore this, and I'm I don't know if it's a word, but enraptured. I'm just awed by these stories, and I feel them on a deep level that I really can't explain to you, man. I just really can't. I'm trying. It's taken me, what, 40 plus minutes to fucking puke this out, you know? Like, and it's still not very good. It's difficult, man. It's difficult. But I wouldn't have it any other way. This kind of inner working, this mind stuff, this learning my own psychology and communicating with myself on a deep level and understanding all the aspects of my own mind and bringing them to light, or working through them with my typewriter and trying to do my waking dream explorations where I'm speaking to these characters that are inside of me that I've given new names to. Doing all of this, but meanwhile studying things like, Allegory of the Cave here, or looking through mythology, like in the Odyssey, or trying to understand poetry, and trying to know our own history. Doing all this work has been probably the hardest fucking thing I have ever done in my entire life. But there's no one around me in my sphere of these kind of small town country folk that's doing this. So I'm kind of alone on it. I never grew up in a big city where I can just kind of go to these places and hang out with these hip people and we can talk about poetry and shit. There's a bar around the corner full of a bunch of guys that work at a factory or a fucking at the mill or whatever, and they just drink beer and talk about fucking the Lions lost. Like, I don't have anyone to, like, I don't have a culture for me to do this. Anytime I remotely say this shit, I'm always met with, you need to read the Bible. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, God fucking damn. And so it's hard, I don't have anyone to help me with this or to explore this with me. And it's isolating. And the only thing that kind of gives me some sense that, man, there might be some people kind of out there is because of this channel where people will watch this. I don't really know. Let's say there's 100 views. Maybe 20 will stay to the end. At least there's 20 fucking people out there that are like, okay, like, kind of, I'm interested in what you're saying. At the very least. And it just keeps me going, like, okay, like, I'm not totally alone in this. I'm not totally isolated and, like, by myself trying to unravel this fucking shit. At least there's this invisible people that are watching me, in some sense. I mean, don't get me wrong, there are the fair share of people that will try to tell me what to think and feel, but most of them won't. Man, it is a very bizarre feeling. Yet here we are, trying to come to terms with our own life and where we've come from, and where we've been, and where we're going to go. I was asked recently my thoughts on death. With all this, with everything we've been kind of doing here in this channel. If you watch back enough. And though I was, I physically faced it recently, not personally, but someone, my family dying, and I went to watch them die, basically, in hospice. The question reemerges, well, what do you think about death? With all of this. And I was honest, like, I don't know. Like, I don't really think about it anymore. I don't know if I'm running from it for fear, like I'm scared to face this, so I'm going to pretend it doesn't exist. I don't know if I'm in that mode. But in my mind, I'm thinking, I got this to really focus on, living. That's kind of what I'm really focusing on, like, and what it is. And what I need to do. Death? No idea. I haven't been there yet, so I don't really know. But when I will go there, I will tell you what I think about it. Is the only thing I can really say. You know, yes, it's terrifying. It can be pretty scary to not know where I'm going. But I'm not there yet. I haven't gotten in that vehicle to go. I'm still in this one, trying to fucking figure out where to go next. So in my world, it's like, I don't know about death. I do know about life, just a little bit. And that's the one I have. Though it might not be the most fabulous one or luscious. I don't know if that's even a proper way to phrase it, but luxurious or fantastical or stable. I don't know. It's mine though, and that's the only one that I know how to focus through. And inside of this life gave me this platform to allow me to do my inner work, and I just so happen to be trying to put at least a fraction of it on camera here, in the hopes that, hell, I don't even know why I'm making these videos. I keep thinking I do. I keep having really elaborate explanations of why I'm doing it, but then I start thinking like, I don't know, actually. That might be full of shit, you know. I am not sure what the fuck's going on, but here we sit, once again, by ourselves, talking to ourselves. What the fuck's that mean? You know? Alright, well, I need to save a little bit of whatever this is for therapy, so I probably should cut, because by the time I get there, I'm going to be like, I'm good for the day, I thought of everything. You know, I need to save some things, which is gonna be a nightmare, because like, where do you begin when someone's like, so what are we here for? I'm gonna be like, fucking, alright, I don't know how much time you get. We only got an hour. That's nothing. I don't know how to say in a fucking hour. We'll find out. I'll let you know what happens. But anyway, time to move on. Got some work to do, got some reading to do. I gotta finish the Odyssey today, if I can help it. Only 60 more pages to go. We can do it. And I shall see you in the next one.